You've got quite a pile of papers there in front of you, and I'm guessing that debate last night is generating lots of discussion.
Indeed, I'm going to start out with Le Figaro this morning, which is looking at that debate on page 2. Here it's got a headline, Nicolas Sarkozy, plus combatif que jamais. He's coming out fighting even stronger. And there you can see the two men who are up there for the second round in the presidential race on that page there, page 2. Now, in the TD debate, they were both in the same studio, but they didn't speak to each other. So as far as Sarkozy is concerned, that's the issue. He's basically gunning to get hold of that man so that he can pin him down and perhaps get score points on him.
And he wants not just one debate, he wants 3, doesn't he? That's got a few people turning a few heads, and Hollande saying, well, we'll just stick to the one for now, shall we?
Well, Le Figaro reports on this, that basically Hollande too was combative. He took to the offensive and said, listen, no, the rules are 1, and if we have 3, that's basically rejigging it for the person who's trailing in the polls, which of course Sarkozy is. Now, the one debate is on the 2nd of May, and Hollande is saying, listen, I am not going to get caught up in a fight. And the word he used is pugilat, which is a bit of an intellectual word, but I suppose it means boxing fight, pugilistic word there for you.
Goodness, that's a new word. A new word for us all there. And what something in the Parisien that's caught your eye?
Yeah, the Le Parisien is basically saying, OK, there's no fight. So here it's got a piece, Sarkozy sur l'artillerie lourde. He's bringing out the heavy artillery. You can see there that basically on Wednesday in a TV appearance, Sarkozy said, he made a comment about Hollande saying that he's got the backing of 700 mosques in France. Now, subsequently, Sarkozy distanced himself from that comment, but Le Parisien is saying, well, in fact, he went on to a rally after that to repeat more or less the same thing, saying he's got support from mosques. Of course, that's all fueling into this whole electroshock that we've been experiencing of Marine Le Pen getting 18% in the first round and the whole rush there for far-right votes. So, of course, again, Hollande is basically trying to keep a distance from that, but Sarkozy is pushing to push this whole question of the ethnic mix in France. Now, that is not going to work well for him within his own ruling party. One former minister in the UMP is saying, listen, steering towards the National Front is basically suicidal. Sarkozy's strategy is not going to work.
Indeed, it's quite a tightrope, isn't it? Now, we've looked at Le Figaro, we've looked at Le Parisien. What's the left-leaning Libération got to say about all of that?
Well, if I go to Libération, of course, it's going very strongly pro-Hollande this morning. Here, the headline, Le Chouchou de Bruxelles. And this is all about the growth debate. Hollande has put forward the idea that we have to talk about growth in Europe, in the EU, far more than we do about austerity. And the left-leaning Libération is arguing, well, Hollande is actually getting a lot of support within EU leaders, from Mario Draghi and so on, and that is he, the chouchou, is he the favourite of Brussels? Are EU partners casting their vote? And of course, that paper is asking, well, can a French president who is a socialist wield influence in this debate about the financial crisis when 8 out of 27 EU governments are right-wing? And again, the argument in the paper again comes back to that issue of Marine Le Pen and the far right, and it's saying that the electroshock of that 6 million voters really comes down to basically EU partners wanting to give some support to a more moderate centrist candidate, which François Hollande would correspond to in comparison to Nicolas Sarkozy. Just to continue, I'm going to go back to the front page of Le Parisien, which is basically reporting on an incident in a Paris suburb, Noisy-le-Sec, and there's been a gunning down there of a policeman who's been charged with murder. That has caused outrage among police, and there's a cartoon in there. You can see Le Grand Malaise de la Police, and there's a cartoon inside Le Parisien aujourd'hui en France, which is showing Nicolas Sarkozy lying down on the floor as gunfire goes above his head. He's addressing security issues. It's a very strong point for him throughout his mandate and during this election campaign. But there we can see a cartoon, bang, 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 the gunfire goes on. He says, hey, I'm listening to you, the police officer. The police officer says, what? I can't hear you. That argument being, it's too late for Nicolas Sarkozy to get votes on security issues.
You can always count on the French press to come up with a good cartoon. Thank you very much indeed, Nicholas Rushworth. That was a look at the French press. Let's get a